Hi, you made it. How's it going? You too.
Good, how are you?
Hi, my name is Tiffany Lin, and I'm a Fully Employed MBA student at UCLA Anderson.
And I'm Juhie Rathor. I'm in the full-time MBA program.
And today we have some fun questions to ask each other about the student leadership experience at UCLA Anderson. Juhie, I'm going to ask you the first question.
Sounds good.
So Juhie, is there a word or phrase that describes your experience at Anderson?
I think the main word that comes to mind is collaborative. And I especially think of that because I thought an MBA environment would be really competitive and daunting to come into. But everyone has been so supportive and so willing to help each other, even when we're all going for the same jobs sometimes. We will prep together for interviews or give each other tips and feedback on our resumes. And even if one of us gets the job that the others didn't, I feel so genuinely happy for them. And I've noticed that's the sentiment across the class, which has been really refreshing. What about you? What word describes your experience?
I'm going to kind of go a different direction for my word, and I'm going to say transformative. I think for me, as I reflect on my experience at Anderson, I just feel like a different person 3 years ago, but not in a necessarily drastically different way. I just feel like I'm the best version of myself. I'm the most confident. I'm more able to deal with ambiguity. I feel like I can really take on the world, as cheesy as that sounds. And as I think about why that is, I just feel like I'm just supported by such amazing faculty, by classmates. And I'm just so happy to have gone through, honestly, this transformation.
Totally. It's crazy thinking if we were to look at ourselves a few years ago before starting this, how much we've changed since then.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know we've had great opportunities for leadership through our roles, but there are so many for other students too. So what are the opportunities and forms of leadership available to students?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll preface that by saying any form of leadership opportunities at Anderson, I think it's such a safe space to practice different types of leadership styles. I really see leadership opportunities at Anderson in two different buckets. First, there's formal leadership roles. So you could be involved in student council like we were. You can get involved in clubs as a president, as a VP, as a first-year rep, which I think there's tons of opportunities there. You can also get involved in admissions club, for example, and lead the initiative to bring in prospective students. And then there's the other side, which is more informal leadership roles. So maybe these don't necessarily have titles, but you could step up and be a leader in your learning team, or if you're in a case competition with a team that you don't know as well, you can step up and lead the group. And I love that in each of these opportunities, you get to work with such diverse groups of people, and you get to learn your own leadership style, and you can grow into your own leadership style, which I think is really cool.
Totally. I even think about leadership at Anderson, the program that we're enrolled in, where each student gets an executive coach. And that has been so valuable in helping me understand my leadership style, where I want to grow, areas of opportunity. And I think that's something that every Anderson student should take advantage of.
Yeah, and that's honestly, for my own experience at leadership at Anderson, I reflect back on my first conversation almost 3 years ago versus now, and I'm just amazed at my own growth. So I think that's a resource that every single student should take advantage of.
Yeah, I was surprised too coming to business school. I knew I'd learn a lot, but I feel like what I learned most about was myself, the introspective part of it all, learning what drives me, what is not helpful in my career for me. And I did not expect it to be such an introspective and reflective process, but that's what I loved about it too.
I love that.
Yeah. Even working with our learning teams, understanding what kind of role I wanted to take in a team of 6 and where I could help others, where I could learn from others. I think there are just so many places that a student can become a leader and learn more.
Yeah, I think another great leadership opportunity is being a career coach, which you can do in really any program. So for the FEMBA program, I was a FACT coach, which is a FEMBA Anderson career team coach, and I got so much joy out of it. I learned a lot about myself. I had the opportunity to coach a bunch of different first and second year students who are looking to move into a tech career. I got so much from full-time and FEMBA students who were a year or two before me, and they passed on so much knowledge. And I just love the fact that I was able to take that and my professional working experience and give back in that way.
as someone who definitely benefited from career coaching, I thank you for your service and your mentorship.
I love that.
Other question, I guess, along those lines, what would you tell the pre-Anderson you about who you'd become that might have surprised you?
Wow, that's a great follow-up question. I don't think 3 years ago Tiffany would even imagine like what she was capable of doing in like every aspect. Like, I guess just starting from the accolade standpoint and the leadership standpoint, I never once thought I was going to come into the school and take on leadership opportunities, become student body president for FEMBA. Like when I first came in, I was like, oh, I'll just explore during the MBA. I think just going through the program and meeting people and realizing that I could make a difference, I think I would tell pre-MBA Tiffany that like you actually do have it in you to really make an impact and bring change to like the community. I'm curious for you. I know the full-time MBA program is 2 years, which is still 2 years ago. Juhie is probably
so short.
It is so short, yet so long at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious what you would tell 2 years ago, Juhie.
I think 2 years ago, I would have told myself to discover my superpowers and lean into them. I came in with a lot of imposter syndrome. I think I looked around at my peers and they were literal wizards in Excel and so good on the quant side, which I may not have been as strong in, but my superpower was definitely leadership. Once I started leaning into that, also becoming student body president of the full-time program, that's when I realized this is what I love doing, this is what I'm good at, and I'm excited to now know that and feel more confident about it.
Which, by the way, I really want to double click into that because I feel like when we first come in,
double click, that's so tech.
I just came from work, so that was really funny. I've been saying that all day. What I really want to highlight that something I thought coming in was there's one ideal profile for who someone successful coming out of Anderson would look like or what it looks like to be a successful leader here. And I was just so wrong. I think just meeting all these different people, seeing everyone's different strengths and how they complement each other, I think that's been so honestly refreshing and rewarding just to see that you can be successful basically playing to your strengths.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I know this is a really difficult question to answer, but what was your favorite moment at Anderson?
Oh, so hard to narrow down. There are too many of them. I think being selected as a Wooden Fellow and being able to celebrate with you was one of the highlights for sure. I think the school really emphasizes the importance of leadership, and especially with someone to look up to like Coach Wooden. It's such an honor being selected as a leader who embodies empathy and is a transformative leader. And the school really backs that throughout our experience. And the culmination of all of that and being able to celebrate with highly respected business leaders in the space was just surreal. I loved that moment. I'm sure you would have a similar answer.
You took the answer from me because that was exactly what I was going to say. Taking a little bit of a different perspective on this, one of my favorite moments, multiple moments, but all fall into this umbrella, is going on a global immersion. And I mentioned global immersion. I went to Singapore for an immersion on the greater leadership in the Greater China region, and then an immersion in Cuba where we got to really learn from business leaders in a very different perspective. Cuba and Singapore are very, very different. I think this really played into my leadership journey because I've never really thought about being a leader in a global sense before. And going on these week-long trips, learning from just incredible leaders in their domains, in these areas, and then being surrounded by all these really incredible classmates asking these thought-provoking questions, really wanting to become global leaders like myself, I think has been one of my favorite moments at Anderson.
That's a good one for sure. So Anderson is known to have students really shape the experience. What are some ways that you've seen that take shape?
I could not agree with that statement more. I have a couple of examples off the top of my head. My personal experience as an Easton Fellow with the Easton Technology Center. Something we've been working on is thinking about how to further tech entrepreneurship at UCLA Anderson. We're thinking about How do we go to different centers like the Easton Center and the Price Center with some recommendations on potentially updating curriculum or adding different types of case competitions or bringing more resources to Anderson from like a VC perspective so that students who are interested in this area can get the resources to support their careers here.
I love that. I love knowing that students can shape the experience in so many ways, anything from admissions to curriculum, the club experience, even career coaching. I know that I've gotten a lot from career coaching because students were so involved in the process. The students who were recruiting for gaming, the same way I did, had just done that a few months before, and they were able to tell me exactly how their experience went and what I can be prepared for.
I love that example. I can't even do the math, but I've seen a lot of years of folks, right? So probably 6 years of folks in my 3 years of experience here. And I work in tech right now, and tech 6 years ago is obviously very, very different than tech is now. And I think that really speaks to how do we actually support students with very like current and up-to-date resources so that we can get them to where they want. And I've seen the program adapt to changes in the environment, changes in technology, and a lot of that is coming from the students and the student coaches as well.
It's impressive to think, too, how our curriculum is shaped by the feedback that we're giving. Even I'm taking entertainment classes right now, and students want to see what is the latest that's happening. Even with AI becoming a bigger thing in our classes, our professors have adapted their curriculum every step of the way. In these entertainment classes, we're talking about movies that just came out, movies coming out soon, and our professors are bringing in past colleagues of theirs that just worked on some of the biggest blockbusters that just came out.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And on the note of professors too, I've seen so many classes where these professors have been teaching for years and even decades. And when we administer this like mid-quarter survey around like week 3, week 4, and they get feedback, they're more than willing to adjust and make sure that the experience that they're giving students is the one that the students want. So it's been really cool seeing that happen as well.
Absolutely. I think our professors embody leadership in such an admirable way too. I see a lot of how our professors navigate problems that are coming up or quick changes in their industries, and I want to be like them. They're so cool.
Yeah. It's honestly just so it's inspiring to watch.
Yeah. I'm so glad we did this. We touched on a lot.
We really did, and there's so much more we could talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining us. That was fun.